What is up? Welcome. Today we are talking about a pesky question that I think that we've all asked ourselves at some point or another. And it is, how did I let it get to this point? I chat with folks about this question in regards to their health and body composition all the time. However, it can apply to anything really. A relationship, a job, a financial situation, the list is endless. And so I want to walk you through what to do next. But first, I've got great news. The very fact that you are asking yourself this question means that you are awake and aware of the reality that you are not stoked on where you currently are now. And you might be thinking, well, how is that good news? It's amazing news because unless you are sufficiently unsatisfied with something, why would you ever change it, right? We don't change things that we're satisfied with or are at least okay tolerating. And so dissatisfaction is super useful. It's the first step towards change, and that is awesome. When I was 60 pounds heavier than I am now with a nasty drinking habit, all sorts of digestion troubles, skin issues, mental and emotional instability, and a body that was unenjoyable to live in, I finally began to change my habits. But before I did, I asked myself more than once, how did I let it get to this point? I remember my dad asking me one time why I had gained so much weight, and he was curious and concerned because he saw me suffering. And so he just asked me, why? And what he meant was, why are you doing this to yourself? And I vividly remember crossing my arms and being able to rest them on my stomach and saying, it's comfortable. Now, the excess weight, the brutal hangovers, the stomach and skin problems, the lack of mental and emotional stability, that stuff wasn't overly comfortable in and of itself. But I have to acknowledge that right up until the point that I changed, the truth is that I was saying yes to all of those things because my behavior was leading to those outcomes. And if I didn't want those outcomes, I could have changed my behavior at any point. However, I clearly just wasn't ready yet. Until I was. And so you're ready when you are ready. And in my case, it just didn't hurt enough until it did, and then I took action. Now, a common question that folks have is, well, how do I know if I'm ready? And the answer is when you take action, because actions are really where the rubber meets the road. And if you're not quite ready to take action yet, that's okay. However, if you're sufficiently tired of being tired like I was, you are ready. Now, there are a few mental hurdles that we can often get caught up in, and one of them is the sunk cost fallacy. And a classic example of this is when you're watching a movie and you get, say, a third or halfway through it and it's bad. You're not enjoying it, but you say to yourself, well, I've already gotten this far, and so I might as well just finish it. We are susceptible to this in so many areas of our lives. Relationships. Oh, well, I'm 34, we've been together for 8 years, and I can't start over at this point. And no, I don't really love my partner all that much, and there are a bunch of red flags. However, maybe he or she will change. Maybe the movie will take a turn for the better. We do this with our health and body composition. I'm 48, I'm almost 50. There's no way that I can get into the shape that I want to now. The body that I had in my 20s or 30s is long gone. What's the point? Rinse and repeat set examples with a career or anything really. Sunk cost fallacy is legit. However, we can work around this psychological pitfall via the following. We can get in the habit of assessing where we are right now and only right now. So in other words, pretend that you haven't watched any of the movie yet and assess how to move forward from that place. And fortunately, you still have the insight that it's a terrible flick. Should you still proceed? No, turn it off. Should you invest another 20, 30, 40 years into a relationship that isn't working? Probably not. Should you continue on with your health habits that aren't serving you and providing you with the most enjoyable life possible? I don't think so. Another key question to ask yourself is, have I been here before? In the sense that, have you thought about changing, not done it, and then a month or a year or 5 years later been like, fuck, I should have just done it then because imagine where I would be now. It's spilled milk at this point, but now is now. And as cliche as it sounds, there is no time like the present. And so I can almost assure you that if you do implement some changes today, you will look back in a month, in a year, or in 3 years and be so grateful to the current version of you for doing that for the future version of you, for investing in yourself. I am so grateful to my 20-year-old self for taking control and ownership of my health and essentially my life. I was just journaling about this the other day because at the time, I couldn't have even imagined what those choices would eventually turn into. A thriving career that I'm absolutely obsessed with, improved relationships, keeping feelings of anxiousness and depression at bay, being comfortable in a swimsuit, working food around my day versus my day around food, and the list goes on. I actually just onboarded a client the other day and she's a week into her program and she said to me, "This is so doable. Why did I wait so long? How did I let it get to this point?" And right after that, she mentioned, having said that, I feel so much better simply knowing that I am taking action. And what she was saying is, the decision to take action is a giant weight off of my shoulders. Something that is so underrated and underappreciated is the mental struggle and internal conflict of knowing that you are unsatisfied with something and simultaneously being aware that you are doing absolutely nothing about it. I've been there and that feeling sucks. It's super defeating. But fortunately, the ball is in your court, and so you can decide to take action today, this morning, this afternoon, this evening. It is right there waiting for you. Now, let's say that you want to take action in regards to your body composition and health today. Here are examples of specific things that you can implement. A small example is going for a 10-minute walk, or making your next meal a healthful one, or reading before bed tonight instead of being on your phone and improving your sleep as a result. A medium example could be committing to hitting 10,000 steps every day for the next 7 days, or skipping processed foods for the week and only eating single ingredient whole foods, or going to bed early enough so you can wake up without an alarm every day this week. A big example, if you're feeling especially ambitious, is committing to 10,000 daily steps for the next 30 days, or eating single ingredient whole foods and skipping processed foods for a month straight, or getting 7 to 9 hours of sleep every night for 30 nights. And as a bonus, if you're on friggin' fire and you really want to challenge yourself, you can do all 3 of those. And I promise you, you will feel different in a month. A commitment like that can genuinely change the entire trajectory of your life. And that is not an overstatement. I've seen it time and time again. Now, I will say that if you tend to come out of the gate a little bit hot, take on too much, and then fall off because you feel overwhelmed, start smaller. On the other hand, if you tend to be quite conservative, and because of that, you rarely see definitive results, and therefore you quit because you're like, this isn't working, take a bigger leap and commit to a little more than you typically do. The key takeaway from this episode is 3 words. Action ends suffering. Inaction leads to more of the same or potentially even worse, but action, doing, that is ultimately how we create change and get real world results. If you're interested in applying for one-on-one nutritional coaching and or workout design with me, you can click the link in the description below or head on over to n1fitness.com/coaching. On Instagram, I'm at n1fitness. On TikTok, I'm at the n1fitness. And on YouTube, I'm at marcussadoo/n1fitness. If you'd like to, feel free to leave us a review on your favorite podcast platform and be sure to hit that subscribe button. Thanks so much for tuning in. I hope that you found this episode useful, and I will catch you on the next one. See ya.